We know what is good and what is evil, what comes from God and what comes from Satan. It is very easy to distinguish, right? We have the commandments, we know Jesus' teaching, we know the church's laws, so there shouldn't be a problem to see what is sinful and wrong. We know that we should not kill, not cheat, not steal, not lie, not hurt anyone, and so on. But there are times when it is not so clear if it is God speaking to us or if the evil is trying to deceive us. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I had a conversation with a relatively young man in his 40s who shared with me a concern that he had regarding his wife. His wife, he said, had changed completely in the last few years from a person who didn't really take her faith and religion seriously to a person who now goes to church every single day. She goes to morning mass and then she spends hours there praying. And when she comes home, most times she locks herself in her room and watches all kinds of different religious channels on YouTube. She follows all kinds of different preachers there, and she believes in everything they say. When I tried to talk to her, he said, and explained that, yes, our faith is very important and God should always be first in our lives, but we still have our obligations and we need to take care of our loved ones and fulfill our daily duties. She said that God called her to completely dedicate herself to Him. So now you and I may ask if that call which that woman heard really came from God or from the evil one. Don't take me wrong, God should be a priority. We must find time for Him in prayer, mass, in the way we live out our life, but we can't forget about our vocation of being a husband and wife, a mother and father, a priest or religious. What we gain from being with God, we now must bring into others. That poor woman got lost in her life because she wasn't able to discover if it was an evil spirit deceiving her, telling her, ignore your family, ignore your children, don't pay attention to your husband, don't go to work, and don't worry about your home duties, cleaning, cooking. You are called to better things. God is calling you to give yourself completely to Him. See, Satan is smart, very smart. He knows how to deceive us. He knows exactly when and where to strike us. Satan will make a temptation look like it is very innocent, that it may be even something good coming from God. But it's not. We always have to be very careful, always on our guard. We must pray and ask God to give us wisdom, to open our eyes to see how evil is tempting us. We can't believe everything we hear or see on the internet, because even if something seems very attractive, innocent, and maybe even holy, it may come from an evil source and will destroy us and our relationships. On today's feast day of the Epiphany of our Lord, we hear that well-known story about three kings or wise men or Magi on their journey to Bethlehem to visit a newborn king. We hear how Herod was trying to deceive them. He tells them, "Go and search diligently for the child. When you have found him, bring me word that I too may go and do him homage." Such an innocent request. Nothing wrong with that, right? They probably thought well of good King Herod. How humble of him, how nice. In fact, we know that Herod was envious and an angry man, and he wanted to get rid of Jesus. He wanted to kill him. Luckily, the three wise men were wiser than evil's temptation. They visited God, they gave him homage, they asked for a blessing. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed to their country by another way. What are we learning from this? I'm learning that evil will try to manipulate us all the time, trying to make his temptations look like a good thing, an innocent thing. The wise men were tempted, but then they went to Jesus to ask for advice, and the advice was to go home avoiding Herod, ignoring him. We are tempted in so many ways. We may not even know if that voice comes from God or from Satan. That's why we too must come to God, come to Mass, listen to His words, pray to Him, receive Him in the Eucharist, ask for a blessing and wisdom, and then leave the church changed, go home by another way, strengthened by being with Jesus. Avoiding Herod and his lies, ignoring temptations, not even getting into any conversation with him. So let's go to work, and God bless you.